Hello, everyone. People are still joining in. Hope you guys are doing fine. We are back on the Zildjian Talk on the seventh episode. We are already halfway through the season, and thank you everyone for an amazing response, especially for the last episode with amazing Gavin Harrison. And today, as you know, we have the incredible Aaron Smith joining us all the way from US, and an amazing drummer, and you're gonna know more stuff about him. And so I'm just gonna add him soon. Before that, I'll just give you a small intro for people who don't know him. Aaron is an independent artist who had a passion for music at a very early age. Born in Muncie, Indiana, he started playing at the age of 2. Learning very quickly the concept of drumming, he was soon playing drums consistently at church by the age of 6. He has played and recorded for a number of well-known groups and artists including Scott Gunn and Weapons, Brian Reeves, and Heart After God. Doobie Powell, the widely popular William Singers, Funkyard X and the franchise band. And recently, he came out with his first EP about 8 months back. It's called 765, the Aaron Smith Experience, which featured numerous independent artists to pay tribute to his hometown. So, without any further ado, I'm going to see if Aaron is out here and try to add him. Okay, I can see Aaron out here. Let's see if he's here. Hey,
Hey, how
uh,
you doing?
how are you, Aaron?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm sure you must be jet lagged because you already started traveling around the globe.
No, I'm actually okay for right now. I've been getting a lot of rest when I got back, so I'm doing good today.
Amazing. Good to know that. And especially, firstly, Aaron, welcome to the Zildjian Talk, and a big thank you from Zildjian India for accepting this request and giving us your valuable time. We are
Yes,
very
it's an
excited
honor.
about this session, and as you have a lot of fan following out here as well, we really look forward to understand more about your story and your music.
Well, it is a complete honor to be able to um, be on here and talk about my life and things that have pushed me to different levels in my music career. I'm very grateful and thankful. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Uh, Before we start, Aaron, if you can talk about obviously the last 1.5 years and the stuff that you've been doing in during the pandemic, and also now again back on stage, and I've seen the videos, and it looks incredible. The whole performance, the stage setup, the singers, and especially your performance. And how does it feel to now finally be back in front of a massive crowd?
Oh, it feels really good. I'm very grateful. This past year or so is a complete difference compared to last year. Last year we were stuck in our houses and couldn't really do anything, and I had to kind of transition into being a studio musician in order to make ends meet. And so I am grateful for the pandemic for that aspect because it pushed me in a different way musically. And so I'm very grateful for that. But, last year definitely was hard on a lot of people, not just myself, but a lot of people. And so I'm very happy to be finally back on the road, I guess you could say, and play music live and to be in front of people in general, just having human interaction, whether it's one person or 100,000, just having just that interaction with people again feels great. So being able to even play on these big stages and all that stuff, I'm very grateful for that, and I'm even more grateful for it after the pandemic. It just makes you just way more appreciative, um, being able to see people and talk to people, interact with people, and interact with them as far as doing music, because that's something that we all have in common, is we all love music. And so to be able to get back to that and to be able to create music again, and make people feel good with um, playing music, is definitely amazing.
Awesome. We also have a lot of drummers from India and around the globe joining us. Guys, if you have any questions for Aaron, I'm going to take in about 3 to 4 questions at the end of the session. So either you can drop in at the question column down, or in the question on the comment section, and I'll make sure that I'll ask him those questions. And thank you once again for joining. So, Aaron, let's talk about before we, obviously talk about your life and the music that you've been doing. Let's talk about your connection with Zildjian cymbals, and when did you start endorsing the cymbals, and also if you can speak about the current setup. Are you in your studio by any chance? If
I'm not near my studio.
Okay,
I'm actually in a hotel. So
okay, no
currently
stress.
away from my house. But no man, that's a good question. Zildjian has been a part of my sound for a very long time. Um, as a kid I grew up on Zildjian. Um, honestly, my first expensive cymbal that I ever bought just by myself with my own money was a Zildjian K. Um, it was a 16-inch K Dark Crash, thin, and I bought that with my own money at a local music store. I was probably about 13 years old, and so since then I've been really just accustomed to that sound. I love the way that they cut. I love the way that they sound in the studio. So I use a lot of Ks in my setup. But I got connected with Zildjian, I would say, in 2012. I was 21 years old. I was a fresh 21 years old kid at Berklee College of Music. And I got connected with them through a professor of mine who is, well, private instructor, not professor, but private instructor, Marko Djordjevic, which he is a Zildjian endorser. And so he pretty much connected me with Zildjian all the way back then, but I didn't officially start endorsing them until 2018. Um, a big part of that was Sarah Hagen when she worked with Zildjian all the way
Yeah.
back then. That was the connection, and so I stayed connected with her all the way through college and down the years, and she still stayed in contact with me, and she eventually brought me on, and so I was very very excited to be signed with Zildjian, because that is a company that is very consistent. Um, a lot of support, and they support what I do, and I appreciate them for that. But also, they gave me the chance to sign with their drumsticks as well. And so I as a kid, I've always loved Zildjian drumsticks as a kid, and so I was using like Dennis Chamber drumsticks, and when Travis Barker first came out with his drumsticks, I was using those as a kid, and when they came out with the I'm trying to think of his name, uh, Trilok Gertrude, I believe.
Trilo good, yeah. The
Yeah,
yellow ones with
yes,
the rubber on it.
yes. When those came out, that was like a game changer. Like as a kid,
Yeah,
like to have the little indentation, I was like, I've never seen this before, and it was brown and yellow. Like I would use that stick all the time. I would have blisters all over my hands because of the grip, but I didn't care
yeah.
because I wanted to play those sticks. So to be able to sign with Zildjian drumsticks as well was just really, really cool to me. And it's just like it's like kid nostalgia for me. And so I mean, I'm here to stay. I absolutely love the products, and I love the people that I work with, and they help me out a whole lot, a ton. So that's kind of where the whole Zildjian connection.
Okay. And what about your current setup? Can you just run through the current simple setup that you've been using, especially for the tour?
Okay, so for me, when I did the shows with Tina Carroll just recently in Ukraine, I had two setups, and so there was two drum sets that I had to play on the stage. And so the first setup, I had a set of 15-inch K light hats, and then I had a 10-inch A flash splash in front of me. And then my first crash was a 19 A custom thin crash. The second crash, usually it was where my ride is, but for this particular gig, I didn't use a ride cymbal. So I put another crash. It's an 18-inch A custom thin crash. And then I had a stack. A lot of people was asking me about the stack. So the stack was a Oriental China on top, but a 18-inch A custom effects crash at the bottom. They were both 18s.
Nice.
And then my last crash on that particular setup was a 19 K Sweet crash, and that was really my first time really playing a Sweet crash, especially like on a big stage. Like it sounded so good. And so the second setup was it was 14-inch just regular K hats, a 10-inch K splash, a 18-inch K dark thin, a 17-inch K dark thin, and then another 18K dark thin with the same stack setup, which the stack was an 18-inch China trash with a custom effects crash at the bottom. So those were both of
Nice.
those setups for that. It was backline, of course. Like if I had my own cymbals with me, I probably would have used slightly different stuff or more things, but it got the job done, and I was very satisfied, especially with those A customs. They cut through that crowd, man. Like they
Right.
cut through. So it was good. It was good.
Nice. Also, I've seen the 15-inch FX Azuka Latin multi crash. Where did you find that, brother?
Man, okay, so the Azuka is my favorite crash that I have in my personal setup at home.
Okay.
Um, it has such a unique sound because of the flipped down edges. And for it to be so small, it's so powerful. And so I think I ordered one maybe like a year ago, a little over a year ago. I
Okay.
saw Ronald
I guess
Bruner.
it's discontinued now, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
they just recently discontinued it, but I ordered it right before it was discontinued because I saw Jamal Moore use one,
yes.
and I saw Ronald Bruner use one when he did the I believe it was the 40th anniversary for Tama, and his drum
Right.
solo, he had one like all the way at the top, and I was like, dude, what is that? What is that symbol? But I absolutely love it, and honestly, I really hope that it comes back because that is a symbol that has to be in my setups. It's definitely one of my favorite crashes, and it's so unique. I really hope to see it be brought back. I didn't want to see it leave. So I just recently found out that it was discontinued, and I was very
Right.
sad. But yeah, the
Because I was
Azuka,
searching for it online and I'm like, man, this is not there on the on the list right now. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
it's not there anymore. And yeah, I ordered mine a year ago, man, and I haven't turned back. It's always right above my ride symbol. It's always right there. I love it. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right. Coming to the splashes, man, I've seen some, so much, so many of your videos, and the way you use those small splashes, especially for those accent shots, what are your, how do you kind of choose the right splash, and especially the tone, especially the way it sits in every track that you play. It's amazing. So, what's the secret behind that?
So the secret behind it is um, I studied sounds as a kid. Um, Not on purpose necessarily, but I was so into drums. I just wanted to know any and everything. And so there's some records, I would say by a contemporary saxophone player, gospel. He's like I say gospel jazz, like watercolors. Um, no, he's not a saxophone. He's a pianist. Sorry, I'm tripping. He's a pianist. Ben Tankard, which he's a gospel jazz pianist. He had a drummer on there named Terry Baker, and he would use this really really high pitched, really small splash that just it cuts through everything. Um, I later found out that it was a 6 inch A custom splash, and that's like one of the greatest splashes that I've ever heard in my life. And so when I got older, I got that one. And then another favorite splash of mine is the Oriental Trash Splash. That thing is it's so musical. It's very musical. Another splash that I really like a lot is the effect splash, the A custom effect splash, as well as the flash splash. Those the flash splash, I was really impressed with those using those last week because it cuts through everything. It cuts like it's like a piercing yet pleasant, splash sound. But my favorite splash of all time is the 6 inch A custom splash. That
Right.
thing, it'll cut through any and everything, no matter how small it is. It's gonna cut through. But my second favorite, it has to be that Oriental Trash Splash. Absolutely love it.
Right. Yeah, the cymbals obviously sound great, but I think the way you use it and those pockets and those accents, the way you hit them is just so musical, and it just does the justice to the song, and the cymbals obviously is giving that support. So it's amazing how you use it, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know. Whatever I think and whatever I hear, I just try to produce it out, with my hands. And I guess you could say it's a gift, because that's not something that I necessarily can explain or teach. It's not really
True.
something that can be taught, but it's just a feel thing. I just feel it, and each symbol has a different type of expression, and I now know how to use each symbol for whatever purpose I have it for. So I'm very specific with symbols, very, very specific, especially with like splashes or stacks, or certain different, different crashes. I like all kinds of crashes. At home, I use like as my main, it's always my main is a 19K dark thin that cannot be beat. I go through a few different ride symbols. For a long time, my favorite ride symbol was the high definition ride K Custom, the
Nice.
22. But I have a new favorite now, and so my new favorite is the K Constantinople 22 um, Renaissance ride. That's
Yes.
probably my favorite right now. I use that for everything now. I literally do. When I play gospel, I have a good, just traditional K Custom ride 20. It's very bright. It gives you a lot of stick definition, and I put some tape under it to dry it up a little bit. And so I really love that. I use that for a lot of gospel records and stuff. And then for like CCM or other type of music, it just depends. When I'm playing jazz, I'll use the high definition of the Renaissance. For any type of R&B, I'll try to use the high definition or my 20th anniversary ride, I believe, A custom. Um,
Right.
because it's washy, but yet it still has a really, really good ping. Um, and sometimes I'll even use a Crash of Doom as a ride.
Wow.
There's some times where I'll just want something real gritty and dirty. That'll give me that traditional sound, a little bit of stick definition, and it has L on there. And so I use a 20 inch Oriental Crash of Doom as a ride sometimes. And so I use different ride symbols. As far as crashes, my favorite crashes, like I said, is the 19 K Dark Thin. The Azuka is my favorite. And then I also like the session crashes. Steve Gadd session crashes. The 18. I use
Right.
that a whole lot in my setups. Another great crash that I use is a K Constantinople 18 crash. I use those a whole lot. Um, and then as far as hi-hats, the best hi-hats in the world to me, like the absolute greatest, like there's no type of hi-hats that will ever beat these hi-hats are the session hats. Session hats is like a brilliant finish, K Constantinople bottom, but it's the top. And
Right.
then a thin A custom like bottom. And so that the stick definition of the thicker top with the thinner bottom with the K custom top with the A custom bottom is such a perfect combination. It kind of reminds me of a reversed like KZ Dynabeats in a way,
Yes.
but reversed. It's so it's kind of crazy, man. Like those things are they're so musical. Those are some musical hi-hats. I love those hi-hats. So
Right. Have
I'm
you
crazy
also
about
tried out some 15 and 16 inches hi-hats, or you're mainly into the 14 hats?
uh honestly, I would say this. I really love the K Light hats 15. I love those. But if they made some session hats in 15s, that would be that would be the best thing is I think Zildjian could
Sick.
do. If they came out if Zildjian comes out with 15-inch session K custom session hats, that would be a win for them.
Nice.
I would use those.
Uh,
I would absolutely use them. I love 15s.
awesome. I think we should write them an email saying, Joe, we should work on the 15-inch hats now for
Yeah,
the K lights.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, man.
Yeah. So, Aaron, going back in the day, you started at the age of 2, and I can kind of connect to that because I also started at a very young age, thanks to my father, who was a musician as well. Was there music already there in your family, and that's the reason you took drums as an instrument, or it kind of changed over the years? And how did it happen at the age of 2?
I'm kind of the oddball of the family. Although my mother sings, my brothers and my father are not musicians. And
Okay.
so my mom sang in church, but I don't know, me picking up drums was kind of random. I started playing drums because I used to see my cousin at church play. And
Okay.
that's what got me started. Um, I really don't know how or why, but drums, I somehow gravitated to drums. My brothers, my older brothers, because I'm the youngest, my older brothers and my dad, they were really into sports. And, like I said, my mother, she sang professionally for a few years, but when growing up, no, she was not a professional singer. She just sang in church. So um, I would have to say what got me started was me seeing my cousin play in church, and the rest was history, really.
Nice. Any earlier mentors or teachers that you learned from in the early days?
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of my teachings came from church, just growing up watching. But my parents saw that I was really serious about drums and music at a very early age. So I would say at the age of 8 years old was when I began to take drum lessons on how to read music. And so I began to read music. So that was like his name was Chris, but he was like one of my first mentors, one of my first drum teachers from my area. Um, and then as I got older, I started meeting other drummers, and really that's when the internet really started becoming a thing. Probably when I was about 14 or 15. That's when like MySpace became a thing and like YouTube became a thing. And so then that's when I really started learning about more drummers. But growing up, my favorite drummer was the late great Marvin McQuitty. So I grew up listening to every single record that he played on. because I would say I'm still the last generation that still had life before social media and life after social media. So I still remember those days where I had to like go and actually physically see these drummers. So another drummer that I saw live for the first like in my life that was absolutely game changing for me was Greg Bissonette. So I
Yes.
saw him. Um, I saw Marvin McQuitty live. I saw a few others live, but I would say the biggest influence for me was Marvin McQuitty. Um, and I would say also Calvin Rogers. But as I got older, probably teenage years, I would say Spanky, George Spanky McCurdy was a big influence to my playing. And so it was a few drummers, growing up that I was listening to a whole lot um, to help me develop my sound as a musician. But yeah, I would say, any type of mentors or anything. There were local guys in my city because I come from a small city called Muncie, Indiana, and so we were all just close friends, or just the older guys that were musicians in the city were definitely like my first mentors, but like first mentor real drummers, like big drummers. I would say that came later on down the line once the internet really hit.
Right. And any top five current favorite drummers that inspires you like to push yourself every day?
Yes. So I would say the most influential drummers, top five right now for me. Number one has always been Thomas Pridgen. Number two, Jamal Moore. Um, Number three, I would say Devin Taylor. He's definitely a big influence, especially doing like show, like just the way he carries himself, as far as touring and stuff like that. Definitely, definitely admire him for that. Um, Let me see. So we're at three. So four and five, who would they be? Brian Fraser Moore. I've been
Yes.
studying. I've been studying a lot of guys who are doing shows right now. That's really been my focus right now. So definitely Brian Fraser Moore is at number four, and number five, I would say, just as far as just crazy creativity, I would say Mike Mitchell.
Oh yeah.
Um,
He's incredible.
he's doing some crazy stuff right now. But some honorable mentions, like I would say, Clemens Poindexter, Jermaine Poindexter, Shawan Andrews, Ray Marshall, because it's hard to just dumb it down to five, but
Right.
I just give some honorable mentions as far as some guys that I'm currently studying and listening to right now that are very, very inspirational right now.
Incredible. Um, a lot of questions actually came in about your practice routine, especially when as a kid, and because there are a lot of young drummers from India who are also listening to us and will be listening to us when it's there on the Instagram page. What is the advice that you will give them, and if you can also speak about your practice routine growing up?
Okay, so my advice is do any and everything that you possibly can in order to practice, whether that means you just have a pad or pillows or whatever the case is. So me growing up as a kid, I didn't always have a drum set, and so I would set up books and I would set them up like toms, the books and stuff, and
Yes.
practice like that. But as I got older, my practice routine, I didn't really have a routine. I would just play. And so what I would do was I didn't have headphones. I had a boombox and I would try to lock in the groove on the boombox, and try to do stuff like that. But as I got older, what also helped my development was, concert band, symphony band, drum lessons as far as learning the rudiments. Rudiments helped me a ton as well as pushed me um, because rudiments are the basic foundation of drumming, and you need those in order to do anything on drums. You need rudiments and understand patterns. And so marching band helped a lot as well. Um, so over the years, like as I was doing those things, I didn't know and I didn't notice how much they helped my development until I got older and started understanding my knowledge on drums. Um, it really didn't kick in until later on in my career, honestly. But as a kid, I didn't realize everything that I was learning and everything that I was doing. But I loved music and I loved drums so much. I would just play in my garage at home for hours from sun up to sundown. You know, I would still be a kid. I would go outside and play. I would go hang out with friends. I would go play basketball and all those other things. But then I would always come back to my drums and play them. And all the kids in the neighborhood knew that I played drums because I would play for hours. So that was really the practice. What I would practice was I was practicing to music all the time. So a lot of people admire how musical I can be when it comes to playing music. But that's because that's all I would practice to as a kid is music. I would practice to songs for hours. I would make up songs or I would practice to a CD. I would just, though that was my practice routine growing up. It wasn't a true practice routine. I was just always just playing. But I would say when I got older, I would start to have a little practice routine as I got older. And so the practice routine that I would have is I would work on limb independent exercises. So I would do like a bossa nova bottom, like do, and then I would do whatever rudiments at the top with my hands. And Thomas Pridgen taught me that. I asked
Okay.
him how can I work on my endurance, and I asked him what are some exercises that I could work on, and he called me and he told me some things that I could work on. That was one of the things that I started working on, and so that helped me a whole lot. But also, just going through all the rudiments that you can with a metronome and making sure your hands are even and making sure your your velocity is even. So I try to work on that. I'll turn off all the lights, close my eyes, even blindfold myself, so that I can just listen to
Nice.
my strokes, which is why I play so even. Is because I studied my velocity in both of my hands. A lot of people don't know, but in real life, although I play drums right-handed, I'm left-handed in everything that I do. I write with my left hand, I kick with my left foot, I shoot a basketball with with my left hand. Like I'm left-handed in everything except play drums. I play drums right-handed. So because of that, I sound a little bit different because my dominant hand is my left hand. So I play with a lot of ghost notes, a lot
Right.
of powerful ghost notes, which I got that from Thomas Pridgen because Thomas Pridgen, although he's left everything that he does in real life, he plays drums right-handed, which on a drum set he's left-hand dominant. So, but though, yeah, yeah. So my practice routines just really just trying to keep everything oiled and making sure that my rudiments are muscle memory. I don't want to have to think about rudiments when I play. As long as they're muscle memory and I keep that, that's what I practice.
Nice. I think that's an advantage actually, because for us right-handed people, we take years to get our left hand and the left foot, at least at some level to the right hand. And you guys are lucky because it's like you're already left hand is so dominant. So yeah, it's kind of an advantage looking in that
Uh,
way.
well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think it's kind of cool. Just my phrasing is a little different. It makes my phrasing different, and so that's why I really embrace
Right.
my left hand a lot. Yeah.
Right. You also spoke about metronome, like how important is playing on a metronome? Today a lot of students kind of shy away of, practicing on a metronome, for quite a long time. Now, obviously, now we are on a tour with such a big artist. I'm sure there is metronome running in your ears as well through the gig. So, if you can give us some light about how important it is to practice on a metronome now.
Oh, it's extremely important because that's your job is to keep time. And so I always tell drummers that are coming up that want to play big shows or they want to play in general. You have to work on your timing. Your timing is everything. Timing is number one. If you don't have timing, then you suck as a drummer. That's just what it is. Like you have to have timing. And so even with doing the big shows that I've done, um, you have clicks running. It's a metronome running the entire time. You have tempo changes and transitions, and it'll be, a click will be right here, and then it'll slow down to right here, like simultaneously. Like, and
Right.
you just have to be able to flow with that, and it helps you be able to keep time. Really, a metronome is for you to not think about the time. it,
Exactly.
it makes life way easier to have a click right there because then it's always there. That's your foundation right there. But timing in general for music in general is very important. But the basic, literally the foundation of drumming is keeping time. So if you can't do that, then you can't be a good drummer. And so it's very important in order to lock into and have that internal meter. And in order for you to have an internal meter, you have to practice to a metronome. I would practice to a metronome for hours. There's been moments where I wouldn't practice to music. I would practice to just a metronome for hours and play the same beat for an hour and not change it and listen to my velocity and make sure that I stay locked in with a metronome because that is the most important thing to drums, to music, to everything is the time. You're the timekeeper, so you have to keep time. So you have to practice on being a drummer who stays in time. So
Nice.
it's the most important thing. It's the most important thing.
Awesome. Uh, what's your favorite rudiment?
I would say my favorite rudiment is probably a paradiddle diddle.
Okay. Awesome. There was a couple of questions about getting some kind of a motivation, especially in the last 1.5 year. It's been pretty rough for musicians around the globe, losing work. And what inspires you right now, and how did you push yourself to, uh, you know, be positive and just keep practicing and making music in those tough times?
Um, my inspiration and my motivation was my family. At the end of the day, I knew that I had a family who depended on me. And so, although the pandemic hit really hard, it hit the music community really hard. There were some things within myself that I searched for in order to make sure that my family was okay. Um, so that started the transition of me building a home studio, investing my money into getting equipment so that I could build a home studio so that I can do studio work. Because although the pandemic slowed down live music, people were still making music, people were still creating music. And so
True.
that was one thing that kept me afloat. I had a lot of supporters, I had a lot of people, they saw that I had a studio. Hey, I want to send you some work. And they would send me a bulk of work and I would get it done. I would do the best that I could. And what I would do was I would just continue to invest into my studio. I would upgrade things. I would upgrade microphones, upgrade computers, upgrade. I was investing into myself. And so having children and having a wife and having a house that has rent that needs to be paid and all these other things that needed to be paid, I went into like survival mode because I always told myself that I wouldn't get a regular job ever again because I hate working for people. As far as like, if it's not my passion, I hate working for people. Now, I love working for people within my passion, within music, but outside of it, I'm not a fan of it. So, with that type of mindset, I had to work harder in order to make sure ends were met. And honestly, just by the grace of God and by by luck and chance, honestly, with having God's favor, things just worked out. Um, I started getting work as far as studio work. Was it consistent? No, not all the time. There would be moments where I would make a really, really great amount of money, and then there would be moments where I wouldn't make anything. And that's just me just being transparent. Last year was very hard,
Right.
um, especially for a musician. It was very hard. So I don't want people to think, I don't want people to look at my Instagram and see all these great moments on there and think that I didn't have to work really hard or that I didn't struggle, because I did. Instagram is only to highlight my good moments of my life, not my entire life. And so there were, I had ups and downs like anybody, but because I have a family and because I have a wife, because I have kids, it pushed me. I had a reason to get up every single day to make sure things would happen. I can't give up. I can't let my children, I can't let my wife see me give up, because then they'll feel like it's okay for them to give up. So no, I couldn't. And so me pushing through that and having God on my side, things just begin to work out. Um, God always told me not to worry about anything, that He has me taken care of. And that was put to the test during the pandemic, because there were moments where I began to worry because I wasn't making money.
Right.
But God made things happen for me. And as much as I could, as much as I want to give a like some type of explanation as to why certain things happen for me, I honestly cannot, because I don't know how, other than God worked it out for me. And that's just me being honest, um, because there are so many great things that's been happening in spite of the pandemic, and that is the only explanation that I have. But I would say just be encouraged, because things are getting better, but continue to work through and push through it, because you don't know what is on the other side. You don't know how close you are to your breakthrough. Um, so that's what I kept pushing through. Although I had rough moments and hard times, I just knew if I continued to push through, that I would see the benefits of it, because I always saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So I kept pushing through. So I encourage anybody, anything that they're doing, to continue to push through, because you don't know how close you are to your breakthrough. Don't give up. So that's what happened for me. My life during the pandemic kind of changed overnight. In spite of the pandemic, everything just started happening so fast, and I tried my best to keep up with it and process everything, but God continues to accelerate my life and elevate my life, and I'm grateful. I am grateful. Like, it is all God. Like, it truly is. That's why I can sit here right now and be just at peace and happy about my career and everything that's going on, because I know that I'm okay. In spite of, I will always be okay. And so that's the mindset that I have. And I just do right by my friends. I'm genuine. Um, I want to always make sure everybody's okay around me. And I think the energy that I give out, it comes back to me. And so I always make sure everybody's okay that is connected to me. And so I encourage everybody to just continue to be encouraged. Live music is back. Continue to still socially distance as much as possible, still, though. We're still not out safe completely. Just be smart, but things are looking better. Things are definitely different from a year ago. And I'm grateful for that. And so, but I am grateful for the pandemic, because it made me appreciate things that I didn't appreciate before the pandemic.
True.
Um, just getting up every day, Like literally just opening your eyes. Like I made it through another day, because there are people who literally are okay one day and then the next are gone.
It's
And
gone.
that is and that's so scary to me, honestly, because things can just change just like that for anybody. And so if you wake up perfectly fine, perfectly okay, in good health and strength, be grateful, because that is a gift. And that's how I look at life. Like that's how I look at life, and that's how I live life. I live life with a purpose. Like I live it with a purpose. Every millisecond of life, I live life with a purpose, and that causes me to just appreciate everything around me. And that's why I'm just so grateful. Like when the first show, when we got done with the first show with Tina Carroll last week, as soon as I got done and saw that it was 130,000 people out there, I got back to my hotel and I cried for 20 minutes. I just cried, just being overwhelmed at how grateful I am to be able to see that, to stand there and see for it to not be just pictures, but I'm actually standing there experiencing it. And not everybody gets to see stuff like that. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to see things like that. And I feel like it took the pandemic for me to really truly appreciate what I saw last week. Um, so I just encourage people, man, like you just don't know where your breakthrough is or when it's coming, but just continue to just live life with a purpose and stay positive and just find a reason to be happy. Find a reason to be happy. Like if I have any type of advice, that is the advice. Like live life with purpose, no matter what happens. So
That's amazing. That's really motivating and a great piece of advice. And I'm sure people listening to us will be inspired with whatever you said just right now, and with such clarity. And as you said, not just showing your positives, but also, a lot of times we have this habit of, obviously, it's, you always want to put the positive stuff on social media. But a lot
yeah,
of people don't know what we go through as musicians, as touring musicians as well. The hard work, the sacrifice, and what you said was bang on, and like how stuff for granted, because being a touring musicians, it was just a normal thing for us to play in front of 20,000 people or 10,000 people before the pandemic.
yeah.
But now you really truly appreciate that, man. So it's amazing. Thank you so much for this motivational advice. um, Coming to your setup, the Aaron Smith experience, let's talk about that and the first EP that you came out with.
Okay. Okay. Well, my EP 765, it was released on October 23rd um of 2020. But I started working on it when I was in college. Like I started working on just concepts and ideas of the record. Probably starting in 2014 when I really started formulating ideas. But like I said, the pandemic really pushed me to want to get it done, and really focus on my artistry. So it was a lot of music that I would finish just back in college. And what I wanted to do was, I was so nervous about coming out with my own music. I was nervous about my sound, but a lot of people encouraged me to do it. And so I finished it. I got some help. Um, like I said, this pandemic pushed me in different areas of my life, as far as my artistry is concerned. It's like, we get caught up as musicians playing for somebody that we kind of forget our own goals and aspirations. And the pandemic caused me to really focus on my artistry, me as an artist. Although I'm my own artist, and so I try to push people to 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 walk in their artistry as musicians, because we're artists. So with 765, I wanted it to be something that was very memorable for myself. So the reason that I named it 765 is because that is the area code of the city that I'm from, Muncie. So our
Okay.
area code is 765. So that's where 765 comes from. And so also the picture of the album is a real picture. It is a picture of myself at age 10, and it was my niece. She was a baby, and we took that picture. I was 10 years old, and so I always told her that I would use that as like an album cover if I ever came out with an album. And so a lot of that music on there, like I said, I started when I was in college in 2015. A lot of it I produced myself or played myself. I played a lot of keyboards on there, and of course, all the drums are done by myself. All the drums on there are real. There are no fake drums or program drums on there. I played each song on actual drums. Um, I had a lot of help. Shout out to a lot of my friends that helped me, like the people who collabed, Chastity Henson, Will Blaze, the artist Jim, um, the artist Tallboy, and then as well as the producers like myself, Kenny Bill, Alex Cologne, um, just all my friends that hopped on here and helped out in any way. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everyone. Um, I started getting serious about the record, I would say, like in the middle of 2020. I think that's when I really started kind of reproducing everything. Um, Started editing things and getting things kind of set in stone and in gear for the release. Um, but yeah, it was just music that I just been just holding on to for a long time. I was nervous about putting out my own music, but a lot of people said that I should because I have a really nice, a really good sound. And so I was like, okay, well, all right, I'll let the world hear my music. And so it's been doing pretty successful, especially for me to be a new artist. It has about, I would say, about 70, 80,000 streams
Wow.
on all platforms, which is good, which is really, really good. I'm
Yeah.
proud of myself for that. Um, and then also I'm working on doing the same record, but live. So I've been working on that. It's going to be 765 live. So be on the lookout for that, as well as I've been working on another record that's going to come out probably in about a year, year and a half or so. That record is going to be called 1991. I picked 1991 because that is the year that I was born. I was born in November 25th, 1991. And so yeah, man, I have a lot of things on the horizon, but the record 765 has opened up a lot of doors for me, especially just as an artist. It's opened up so many doors. I'm so glad that I came out with it. I'm glad I'm coming out with music. I'm glad that people like my music, um, because I honestly thought people wouldn't like it, but a lot of people like it. So I'm so happy about that. But I'm very proud of my record. Like, I'm so proud of it because, my mentors and stuff like that, like, they're all proud of me. They're all proud. Like they were so impressed with the record. Like I was like, yes, yes. Like I was so happy because I do care about what people think about my music. I want people to like my music. I want people to understand my music how I understand it. But I know that they won't because they don't know why I made that music or how I felt at the time. But I still want people to feel my heart. I want people to feel my soul that I pour into this music. And so the fact that I'm able to get good responses from that, um, I'm very grateful. And my
Yeah, we
record
already
has
have people
opened
from
doors.
Brazil and Russia, saying we want to see the Aaron Smith experience.
Yeah, so I'm grateful. So thank you to everybody who supports me. Thank you to everybody who loves the record. I appreciate it. More music coming. More music coming.
Awesome, awesome. We have one question about how do you become a solid drummer? Maybe, I don't know, with time, pocket.
Okay, yes, we can talk about time and pocket. How to become a solid drummer. You listen to solid drummers. First things first, listening. I always tell people, listen, listen, listen. And so listen to solid drummers. Who do you think is solid? You know, so if you think Aaron Smith is solid, listen to anything that Aaron Smith comes out with that is pocket, that is clean, that is musical. Take those ideas. Take those ideas and make them your own ideas. Um, Also, practicing with the metronome is very important. Practicing set patterns, like keeping a pattern, like play a certain pattern and keep that pattern going for like, dude, I would practice the same pattern for like an hour. For like an hour. Just practice it.
Right,
Just try to get it as clean and as consistent as possible. That's how you become solid. But number one is listening. Just listening.
right. There was another question about you teaching. Are you also open to some workshops, master classes coming this year? If somebody wants to learn
Yes,
from
I
you?
yes, I'm open. I'm definitely open to doing master classes and clinics. Currently right now I don't have any set up, but I would love to set up a clinic or a master class. I love teaching. Absolutely love teaching about drums. So if anybody would like to bring me in, that would be great.
Right.
But yes, if I do come up with anything, if anything comes up, I will be sure to post it on my Instagram and all of that to let people know about it. But currently, right now, I do not have any clinics coming up, unfortunately. But that will
Okay.
change.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for that. Uh, we'll just take one last question. This is, I think, what do I need to do to become a professional drummer? You can also talk about if you can, especially getting into the big stadium gigs. How can somebody work towards becoming good in that kind of a format?
Okay. So in order to become a professional drummer, there's different levels, there's different calibers of professional drummers. I mean, technically, if you think about it, you are a professional drummer if you play any type of instrument, or well, not any type of instrument, but you're a professional drummer if you play drums and you get some type of compensation for it. You're considered a professional drummer. Now, to get on a certain level, it's levels to it, of course. Um, but in order to really become a true to the point to where you make an absolute living from it, you just have to be reliable. You have to be somebody who is dependable, who is trustworthy, who can get work done. But also, as far as practice, you have to practice your craft, practice your rudiments, practice to metronomes, your timing. Just making sure your business is together because it's all about business. I think I would say when it comes to the big gigs, it's really 5% playing. That's the least of your worries. The other stuff, as far as the business is concerned, that's the 95%. Being there on time, getting there on time, making sure that you know the music, making sure that you program, making sure that you sign contracts, making sure that you get to your plane on time, making sure that you're up for lobby call, making sure that you like it's the business stuff that makes you a professional. Like how you handle that. Playing ability is the last thing to worry about. Playing ability, skill, all that stuff is last. But just having your business together, making sure that you can handle a heavy schedule, a stressful schedule, um, making sure that you are staying healthy, just mentally and even physically on the road. Those things are important. Taking care of your body, all those things tie into being a professional musician. Because if you're not taking care of your body, how are you supposed to? even survive a tour where you may not be able to get any physical exercise, or you may not be able to eat as healthy as you want to, and all these other things. You have to have certain discipline and all that. So I would say the business aspect is the most important aspect, and then playing ability is like 10%, really 5% of it. So I hope
Right.
that
I think
helps.
that's a, yeah, I think that's an amazing answer because most of the people talk about on stage stuff, but it's equally important to know the stuff which is happening off stage. And I think
Yeah,
that's the real game, and that's what makes you a good professional drummer and somebody who can last like for years and years in the music business. So
yes,
amazing,
yes.
man. Aaron, it's already been an hour and it's went off pretty quick. And thank you so much for your time. Again, a big thank you from Zildjian India, for giving us your time and such incredible advice and being so transparent and being so positive. And this is surely one of my favorite sessions in this talk. And thank you once again for joining in, man. It's really been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure, man. It's an honor. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother, and hope to see you someday in India with the Aaron
You
Smith
will. You
experience.
will.
Take
You
care.
will.
Thank you, brother. Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for
Cheers.
joining in, and I'll be back next week with another drummer from somewhere around the globe, and we'll be taking it to the eighth episode. And once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining, and please send your comments and questions. This episode will be saved on the India Instagram page, so do check it out, and stay safe, and see you guys soon. Cheers.